I am in Petrified Forest National Park in Arizona, and in this video, we're not going to be seeing too much petrified wood or much of the painted desert. Instead, we're going to take a look at the Native American history of this site here at Puerco Pueblo. These ruins within the painted desert of the Petrified Forest are all that remain of the Puerco Pueblo. The site and its petroglyphs are listed on the National Register of Historic Places. This was a prehistoric settlement of the ancestral Puebloan people, inhabited between 1250 and 1380 CE. Here is a kiva, which served as a ceremonial chamber, and it was actually built into the ground here. The kivas here at Puerco Pueblo are noticeably smaller and more angular than the kivas of pueblos to the north, such as Chaco Canyon and Mesa Verde. The structures here were built of shaped sandstone, and this pueblo once had more than 100 rooms. Only a small portion of the pueblo's masonry has been excavated, so there was a lot more to this than we can see today. About 200 people lived at Puerco Pueblo during its heyday around 1300, and the inhabitants grew corn, squash, and beans here in the painted desert. There was a river that passed right by here, and during summer there was always a good deal of rain here. While this specific settlement was lived in over 700 years ago, people have lived around here for over 13,000 years. Being one of the many pueblos on the Rio Puerco and the Little Colorado rivers, this place was probably visited by traders from outside the ancestral Puebloan lands who brought in different types of goods like pottery. Archaeologists have discovered some artifacts here originating from far outside Puerco Pueblo. This is the largest archaeological site within Petrified Forest National Park. I will admit I am very impressed with this park. This place has tons of petrified wood, unique geology and scenery, Route 66, and Puebloan ruins. This park has everything. This is an original entrance station to the park. Built in 1935 as an entrance for visitors who arrive by train from a nearby town. Now it has exhibits inside. These signs explain the ancient history of the Petrified Forest and its more recent role as a tourist mecca. Tourists have been coming here since 1883 when the railroad came through. Then the park became popular to visit in automobiles from Route 66, which passed just a couple miles north of Puerco Pueblo. There are also some bronze Puebloan artifact reproductions to touch. And look at that! A freight train is passing through the Petrified Forest right by the 700-year-old ruins. Here you can see how much the times have changed. Behind the Puerco Pueblo, there is an overlook to see some petroglyphs. This placard points out a summer solstice marker left in the boulder. Apparently during the summer solstice, by the design of a Puebloan many centuries ago, the sunlight flows down the cleft of this boulder so that the light and shadow on the spiral petroglyph changes as the sun rises and moves across the sky. That is pretty amazing. I'd like to see that. Here are some more prehistoric petroglyphs. Looks like that one depicts a giant crane who has picked up a guy with his beak. Could also be a stork carrying a baby. or it's just eating a frog or something cranes usually eat. And that is a migration symbol. The Puebloans often migrated, and that was an important theme of Puebloan oral history. The dark coating these petroglyphs are carved in is known as desert varnish, made up of clay and minerals which, along with the dry climate, has helped these petroglyphs to last and tell their story into the 21st century. Another train is passing through the national park. I have now moved on to a nearby spot called Newspaper Rock. From this perch overlooking these series of rocks, it's hard to tell that there are actually over 650 petroglyphs adorning those rocks. The Newspaper Rock petroglyphs are also listed on the National Register of Historic Places. Since there are so many petroglyphs, it is presumed that this was an important spot for the ancestral Puebloans and that many generations added their marks to these rocks. The earliest were made about 2,000 years ago. Since there are so many petroglyphs carved over the span of 1,500 years, there is no linear storyline to the petroglyphs, but there is a variety of symbols down there. You might be able to tell some of the petroglyphs on that rock face. And there goes another train passing in the distance near this prehistoric petroglyph site. So that was the Puerco Pueblo and Newspaper Rock. Really interesting pieces of native Puebloan history here in the Petrified Forest. If you'd like to see other sections of the park, like the actual Petrified Forest, the Painted Desert, and Blue Mesa, then check out my other videos on those. Links in the description. If you enjoyed this video, then please like, share, and subscribe. Also take a look at my other videos on Puebloan sites in the region, national parks, and much more. Thanks for watching.